Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really simple holiday card. So this was actually inspired by my friend Tina Wardell. She did a card very similar to this. I'm not sure what her color scheme was, and I changed a little bit of stuff in the background, but we're going to try to make this card again. This was my first go round. And this uses just the Paradise Palm stamp set. It's pretty simple. We're also going to be using, I believe these are called the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems. So you could just use these if you like, just give a little bit of like a holiday color. But the other thing that I used, and these are something that we've had kind of different versions of as we've gone throughout stuff, but these are Pearlized Enamel Effects Basics. So basics hopefully means that maybe they're going to come out with another set, which would make me super happy. If you have something that's kind of like a Nouveau drop, it's probably kind of similar. We've also had sparkle drops in the past, but these are black, white, and I guess like a pearlish clear. They're very, very pretty. They're pearly and they're liquid, so you do have to allow dry time. That's probably one of the most important things to note. So if you do use the sequins, they just stick and you leave it be. But the drops when you put them on, so this is the white, there's the red. I didn't use the black, obviously, but you do need to let them dry. Now, they will dry shiny, and they have a little bit of a textured lift to them. They're probably not quite as high as the gems, but again, you definitely have to have dry time. So I'm going to get those two colors out. So we're going to be using red and white. And it's not really, it doesn't look red in the bottle. It looks more like a pinkish color, but you can tell when it dries, it's almost like a cross between Cherry Cobbler and Mary Merlot. So I actually switched up. So for this card here, in case you're new to card making, this would be what's considered a hot dog style card base, and we're going to actually do this on a hamburger. So long and skinny or short and wide, those are the two different types of bases. So if you had two of these next to each other, it makes one full sheet of cardstock. If you have two of these next to each other, it makes one full sheet of cardstock. So for the first card, it is 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. I actually used Cherry Cobbler. And then Whisper White is in the front here, or Basic White. And what I did for this next card is actually switch to Mary Merlot. So this is a little bit darker, so we'll just see which one we end up liking a little bit better. So I did go ahead and score this. I'm just going to set this on the side. I scored this, and I'm always going to just make sure I hit this with my bone folder so it's nice and flat. And we don't really have to do anything with this, so we can go ahead and put this layer on. So again, this is Mary Merlot. It is cut at 4 by 5¼ We're just going to pop that right on the front, make sure it's pretty evenly spaced for the most part. I feel like I have some little ridges over here. All right, so there's that, and that's going to be on the side because the rest of it is pretty simple stamping. So I have the curved palm trunk, which you can use whatever you like. I have the larger palm tree, and then I have the sand mound. Okay, so what you want to do is kind of decide first what you're going to pick. So I'm going to use soft suede for my palm trunk, and I'm going to stamp that first. So just inking that up. Kind of reminds me of the Corona Christmas tree commercials, which I must admit are always some of my favorite. So that is the trunk. Then we're going to do crumb cake for our sand. We really need some sort of an in-between color for sand, I think. And I just re-inked this, so it may be a little dark. So I want to just see how light do I want it. So that's 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to go with the third. So I'm just going to ink it again. And I'm going to stamp it off. And then I'm going to go 1. And then I'm just going to move it just a little bit. 2. So it's kind of like a little bit of sand there. So that's pretty much it. Now, before I go any farther with my tree, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to grab my blending brush, and I'm going to grab Pool Party. And what I'm going to do, just making sure this is mostly dry, is I'm going to ink up my brush, which I don't want it too wet. There we go. And I'm very, very lightly going to brush. So I kind of wanted to give like a cloud effect. So the way I brushed over here, it almost looks as if there's a cloud behind the sky. So I just want a really light bit of color. So I'm just going around. I don't want to get it in the trunk because I don't want it to accidentally bleed the soft suede, because that would make it look yucky. So just a little bit, not a lot. I'm not having anything for the water at all. It's really super light. So that's, I guess you would call that barely blending. But so again, the Stampin' Blends brushes, I'm sorry, the blender brushes, totally different thing. These come 3 in a pack, and I use blue. So I would use this one blue or purple. I don't have one for every single color. I have kind of just enough to get me through in a color family. So I'm going to try the Parakeet Party. This one I actually used Garden Green. I want to see what it looks like with Parakeet Party as the palm tree instead. So I'm going to ink this up. Let me see. And that's almost a little bit bright, but you know what? We're going to do it. Let me see what number 2 looks like. Yeah, I'm going to ink it up. We're going to go with number 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to pick it up and turn it just a little bit because that kind of almost gives the look as if it's blowing in the breeze. It's not really very much, and it kind of just looks like you messed up, but it gives you just a little bit there, okay? And now I did just slightly undercut my trunk there, like it's really suspended in the air. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure when I put down one of my dots that I have something in that area, okay? The only other thing I want to add, and you could do anything else, you could do retirement wishes, but what I did was I actually pulled this from the Kindest Gnomes. Warm wishes is what I stamped on here before. You could also do trees for sale, and I think I'm going to change to that one this time. And I'm going to do So Very Merry. Where is it? Right here. So we'll do that. And since I don't have anything else in here in that color, I'm actually going to do this in Merry Merlot. Now, I haven't used Merry Merlot, and I can't even tell you how long. So we're going to have to see what it looks like. Sometimes those pads that you don't use very much kind of get that weird crystal sheen. But let's take a peek and see. Might be fine. Yep, that looks good. So I'm going to just pick a spot where I want to stamp this. I think I'm going to go, since it's a little bit wider, I'm going to go down just a little bit lower. That looks good. Wow, that looks really nice. And I kind of like the dark contrast of the Merry Merlot with that. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I shake up my pearlized effects. And again, these have a really fine point, kind of like puff paint. So I'm just going to put a couple squeezes. And I noticed that if you are kind of pressing as you swirl, it tends to, oops, that's a big dot. Might have to make this a little bit bigger. It gives you that little rounded spot instead of having kind of like the Hershey Kiss dot, if you know what I mean. So same thing. I'm going to go ahead and add in a couple white dots. Be nice if we get these in more colors. That would be kind of fun. I wonder if, and I don't know, I wonder if you can color these with Stampin' Blends, the white ones. That would be interesting to know. One more little one there. And I almost would want to put one on the ground. I wonder kind of what that would look like. So I'm going to add in just a couple of these just for the heck of it. Now, one thing I want to tell you is I probably should have glued this down to here ahead of time because those are going to take a really long time to dry, but we'll just work with it. So I'm going to grab just a couple. Actually, I think I'm only going to grab. You know what I might do instead of doing these just this time? What if I use, oh goodness, where are they? Here they are. And I know I have a lot of these left and they're really tiny. The jewels, the basic pearls, and I'm actually going to, I'm going to bust these out of here. I'm sure we'll use these. I'm actually going to change and go with, just because I have the parakeet, I'm going to do a couple of these in my, it's a little bit light. So my dark parakeet Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to do the dark Tahitian Tide. They're not super dark, but here we go. Just give them just a minute. I don't know what this looks like. I'm going to add just one of these. Purple. This is the Orchid Oasis. All right, so I'm going to give that just a moment, and then I'm going to move. Let me pick this up. One. I'm going to try to put these kind of in a slight triangular pattern. Well, this is an exceptionally, oop, come on, decorated palm tree. I feel like it needs a little bit of blue. Here we go. Trying not to touch my little spots. Probably should have thought this out just a teeny bit better, but put one of these on the ground like it fell. How about that? That kind of looks cute. There we go. A very, very festive palm tree, that's for sure. So, oh, one of those guys is falling through. No, it's okay, Rach. Just leave it. You don't have to do it right now. Now, just because I have this little teeny thing here, I'm going to try something because, you know, these balls do have these little teeny hooks. I'm going to just add just a little hook so you kind of know what that is. So it looks like it fell from the tree. Now, you totally don't have to do that, but I think it looks really cute. So I'm going to, instead of putting glue in the back of this, I'm going to put glue here, and I'm going to kind of just try my best to stay in where I think that 3 3/4 inch border is. So just in case I didn't tell you, this layer again was 4 by 5 1/4. This is 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to do my very best to just pick this up and kind of make sure I center it. Oh, I did really well. Look at me. And again, this is going to need significant dry time, okay? You don't want to smudge this. You don't want to package it. You don't want to set anything on there. I like the dark, but I almost think it would have been neat if I would have done the parakeet party and then re-stamped it with a little bit less ink. And I'm going to show you what I mean by doing it on the side here, because you kind of lose a little bit of detail in there, but we have so many Christmas balls on, you can't really tell. So if you can see what that looks like, you're not quite seeing as much of the detail. So if I would have gone with the inkier one, and then maybe, I'm going to see what this looks like. Bear with me just one sec. I'm just kind of half cleaning this. And really, really lightly tap that off and just gone to the side. That might have been cool because it almost would have given a little bit more depth, but it's okay. I guess we just have to decide which one we like better, if we like the darker or the lighter one, because we kind of don't really have anything that's like a super in between for those two colors of something palm tree-esque anyway. But if you haven't tried these are new. These are in the holiday catalog. They're, like I said, very pretty. And I'm really hoping the fact that this set says basics means there's going to be another set coming out, because these are definitely really pretty. They're very sparkly. But again, this color is bright, and when it dries, it will be significantly darker. So kind of keep that in mind. You're not going to get this bright pink. It'll probably settle in a little bit more. So I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a great way to make a super fast card, especially if maybe you have someone who is in more of a tropical climate and you want to send them a Christmas palm tree card. I think it would be adorable. If you have any questions about this video, or you would like to get any of the supplies to make it, you can go to my online store 24/7, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. While you're here, leave me a comment. Let me know which one you like better, Mary Merlot or Cherry Cobbler. I'm thinking now that I see it, I kind of like the Cherry Cobbler better. It's a little bit lighter, but I really also like the sentiment that we changed to as well. So really simple card to give to anyone in a pinch if you need something to make a bunch of. This would be a great card for that. And you can even go with, maybe if you have a whole bunch of retired little embellishments that you could use instead of the jewel dots. And then once you use them, you can get yourself something new. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on your notification, and give me a thumbs up. I hope you have a wonderful day.